And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Huddle. It is our new streaming digital show, just a few weeks old here on the KGUN 9 digital platforms. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, how are you today?
Doing terrific.
All right, fantastic. And for those of you just tuning in, feel free to comment, question, whatever you may want to do on the device you are watching. So, Pat, I thought we'd start with Arizona football. You came on here a few weeks ago on this show. You were not happy with the way Jedd Fisch was handling the quarterback situation. You thought he should pick a quarterback. You didn't like this going back and forth. It seems now they've settled on Jordan McCloud. Are you satisfied with that decision?
As long as they stick with the quarterback that they feel like gives them the best chance to win, and I think that is Jordan McCloud, that I'm happy with it. I think he does actually give them an opportunity to maybe win one of these games coming up here pretty soon, Jason. I look at UCLA. A week ago, I would have thought, oh, this is an impossible task. But you see what Arizona did 2 weeks ago against Oregon gives you a little bit of hope. And you see what UCLA did against ASU, and you think, yeah, UCLA's not that good. Maybe they got a wake call. We'll have to see. But as far as Arizona goes with Jordan McCloud, I think he does possess the ability with some electrifying runs, with his ability to make plays, to move out of the pocket. It just gives them it gives you a sense that this football team can move the football, and if you can move the football and eliminate those 5 interceptions, you got a chance.
Yeah, Arizona's been playing to the level of its opponent, I think, for a couple of weeks. And I asked somebody this past week. I said, "Well, why were Jordan McCloud's 5 interceptions not as bad as Will Plummer's 2 interceptions?" And the response I got was, they looked like a football team with Jordan McCloud in there, quarterback. He moved the team down the field.
Yeah, I think that's it. You've got to, sometimes you have to see with your own eyes. It makes me kind of wonder what they were looking at. They, as in the entire coaching staff, was looking at with Jordan McCloud. I know he came in late. I know he transferred in late, and that was their excuse. And they had Gunnar Cruz, and they gave him a shot. They had Will Plummer. They gave him a shot. I'm just wondering if this is a kid who maybe shines in games and maybe isn't a practice player. I don't know. Or maybe it just took him a little while to develop within the system for Jedd Fisch. I guess we'll never know. But the bottom line is he's the quarterback now. I have a little bit more faith in him moving the football. And you've got to get the team to play a complete game on both sides of the football. It's just, we put so much emphasis, Jason, on quarterbacking for good reason. But there are also, 21 other guys out there that have to do their job, 11 on offense, 11 on defense.
So one of the things about McCloud is when you throw 5 interceptions, not only does it, of course, hurt the team, but let's face it, that's a little embarrassing. You don't want to go back out there the next week and throw a bunch of picks. And so I got to wonder a little bit how gun-shy McCloud is going to be going into this week. I asked him that the other day, and here's his response.
You just have to forget about it and play your game. You can't let anything take you out of your game. You have to play the game you've been playing your whole life and have fun doing it. And at the quarterback positions, it's life. It's realistic. You're going to make mistakes and stuff like that, but you have to be able to move on and just play, don't try to play mistake-free. Just play your best game, and it'll work out.
He said it right there. Don't try to play mistake-free. You can't do it that way. You can't be too defensive. And so I kind of like what I heard from him this week.
Yeah, I liked what I heard right there as well, Jason. You've got a guy who's got over 20 Division I starts at quarterback versus the guys that had very little, if no, starts at quarterback before the season started in Plummer and Cruz. So when you have Will Plummer and who we saw at times last year, we saw this year, we know what we were going to get. With Gunnar Cruz, we were hoping we would see a little bit more than we did. But both of those guys had that, lack of experience and that kind of looking over their shoulder the whole time. Am I coming out? Am I staying in? I think with Jordan McCloud, what you get is you got a guy with a lot of confidence who's had those ups and downs as a starting quarterback in Division I football, and I think he's okay with making a mistake here and then coming right back and trying to prove that he's not going to make that mistake again. I don't think he's going to look over his shoulder, and I think they've made it pretty clear to him he's the guy.
Sometimes you got to look at what's going on under the surface, right? Whether it's the economy and supply chain issues with inflation or with Arizona football. And you kind of look at what's going on under the surface. Well, you take a look at their 4 losses, right? 3 of these 4 losses to top 25 teams, 2 of the 4 losses, 2 of the 4 losses to top 10 teams, okay? And we've got a graphic on this, by the way. And they have outgained 3 of 4 opponents. So when you go underneath the hood, yeah, they're 0-4. Yeah, it's embarrassing, but you can see why there is some room for optimism.
Yeah, and there is and there isn't, Jason. I think you don't want to start using those as excuses that yes, you've lost to 2 top 10 teams and 3 of your 4 losses were to top 25 teams. Those can tend to kind of be excuses, but I think you're right in the sense that there are reasons why San Diego State looks so good against Arizona. There are reasons why while Arizona played well for about a quarter against BYU is a very good football team, and we've seen that in the previous or the successive weeks of the Cougars playing. The NAU one is just I'll never. I hate even bringing up that game, but that's the outlier there that I just don't get. I think as we look at these numbers you were talking about in the 0-4 record and the top 25 losses, the 2 teams in the top 10, they did outgain their opponent 3 out of 4 times. That means 2 of those top 25 opponents they actually outgained, and for that sense, that gives me a lot of confidence. Also, what we're not talking about here is, as I keep getting back to the defense and the improvement they made, they didn't play last week, Jason, with the bye week, but they actually moved up 7 spots in the total defensive ranking. They're now 63rd in the country in total defense at 364 games or 364 yards a game. And you say, oh, what's the big deal? 63rd. Well, they were 121st 2 years ago and 116th last year. They're making progress on the defensive side of the football that we're not necessarily seeing in this graphic. And that gives me hope as well.
So while Arizona's college team is winless, Arizona's professional team is 4-0, the only undefeated team in the NFL. A little lucky with a missed kick a couple of weeks ago, but hey, that happens. And I think you got to start with Kyler Murray. He just looks fantastic. He looks like a polished quarterback. As we talk now, Arizona Cardinals, he looks like a polished quarterback. He no longer looks like somebody who needs a little bit more experience. He knows what to do in each situation. He knows when to throw it away. He knows when to take a sack. He knows when to take off with running. And when you look at the weapons around him, it is an exciting offense.
Some guys come into the league right away and do well. Other guys, it takes a year or two. For Kyler Murray, it's taken a couple of years. But I think we all knew he had the talent. And also, you have to have that confidence grow. And he's helped out tremendously, Jason, by these receivers. He has got some terrific receivers.
Hopkins is fantastic. He's a great player.
He is unbelievable. You've got those. So you've got veterans across the line with your wide receiving core. I think this is kind of all coming together at the right time. I'm not saying they're the Kansas City Chiefs and it's not Patrick Mahomes or anything like that, but it's almost like a baby version of that, or a little further down the rungs on the ladder version of that. And they're building something that's not just going to be a 4-0 start. This is going to be several years where the window is going to be open for the Arizona Cardinals. It's easy. I know what a lot of the fans say, and maybe we'll get some questions here. We welcome all your questions and comments. When you're talking Arizona Cardinals football, it's easy to look at Cliff Kingsbury and say, well, there's another coach that had no head coaching experience, and boy, he's making a lot of mistakes, and they're lucky to be 4-0, and he's got to get better. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of truth to that, but to me that's a little too easy. They are 4-0. He looks like he's got Kyler Murray believing. He's got the offense believing. Their defense is not bad. Got to get better, but their defense is not bad. I just think when you're talking about football teams in the NFL right now, there are only a few of them that are ascending right now, and the Arizona Cardinals are definitely one of them.
Yeah, Budda Baker leads the team in tackles. You got Byron Murphy, who's been all over the field. Isaiah Simmons playing well. Chandler Jones with the sacks. He's playing for a contract. It's going to be an exciting team to watch. And they lost 8 straight to the Rams going into that game last week, and they beat them handily. They really did.
They dominated.
They are the team to beat in the NFC West, and it's it's been a tough division with the Rams and the Seahawks and the 49ers who have been up and down. and to see them doing that well is fantastic. To have that on Sunday after watching a Wildcat loss
it's
on Saturday.
it's
So
quite the opposites right now. And along those lines, Jason, offensively, they're number one in the NFL, 140 points. They're number one in the NFL, 1,762 yards. This is after four games, obviously, so it's still early. But what do they always talk about? They talk about dividing the NFL seasons into quarters. Well, now they have 17 games this year instead of 16, but you get the idea. So a quarter of the way through the season, they're number one offensively. Defensively, they're ranked 15th. So right in the middle of the 32 teams. But I think you see pieces on that defense, as you pointed out, that look like they're the right fit. They're making progress. And again, if that defense can come along a little bit and that offense continues at that pace they're on right now, this is definitely a playoff team.
And Matt Prater making Steve Keim look good, the kicker, with that free agent signing. So, all right. So we're also going to talk here Arizona basketball. We both went to the Red Blue game. I'll give you my thoughts. You could see the up-tempo type of team that Tommy Lloyd said he's going to play with. You saw it in Kirk Risa, how fast he was getting the ball up the court and then kind of going over to the corner to set up for three. And you also got a little bit of a look at their rotation too in the second half. Tommy Lloyd said he wasn't going to rearrange the furniture, that he wasn't going to have a different format for the Red Blue game, but there was a different format. It was divided into two halves. And in the second half, it wasn't two evenly matched teams. He took the best 8 players, the best 9 players, put them on one team against the rest of the guys. And we learned a couple of things. One, Jordan Maines can play. If they ever have to get that deep into the rotation,
True.
the guys who wear the number 50s, the walk-ons, that guy can play.
Yeah. You're right about that.
We got a glimpse into the rotation for sure. And he also said that Tommy Lloyd said this was a team with a lot of personality. We saw that for sure in the slam dunk contest, even coming out, the guys dancing. They looked like they were having fun. It's definitely a different atmosphere from the super intense, super guarded Sean Miller. So my takeaways from the Red Blue game is that we saw a little glimpse of their up tempo, and we saw a little look at what the rotation is going to be.
I'm glad you mentioned the way kind of the attitude was about the team and the way they expressed themselves. It was definitely different. I don't think there's any question that it was different. I did like the idea of kind of getting our sense of who the top guys are going to be in the rotation. If you want to go 7, 8 deep, they'll early in the season, they'll probably go more like 9 or 10 deep. We still don't know. Pelle Larsson will be a guy. Tommy Lloyd keeps saying, don't forget, this guy's probably going to be a starter too. If not a starter, he'll be playing quality minutes. So we didn't get a chance to see him because he's coming back from a broken foot.
I was impressed with Kim Aiken Jr.
I was just going to say, the guy that impressed me the most was Kim Aiken. And it wasn't that I didn't know he could play. I heard he was a great shooter. Well, he went 4 for 4 from 3. And at times he took over the game, Jason.
He can play defense.
And he's a great defender.
He's a man among boys.
Sometimes. So if you got a guy that suddenly takes over a game and everybody's going, wow, who is this guy? That bodes well, because yes, it's just guys, teammates going against each other, all that kind of stuff. No, when a guy takes over like that, we expect that out of Azuolas Tubelis. We get that he can take over a game. Ben Mathurin can take over a game at times. Well, now they have Kim Aiken who can take over games at times.
Yeah, and I know they think of him more as a 4, as a power forward. I'd also like to see him play a little bit at the 3 in case you need.
He shoots well.
He shoots well enough to do that. I think he can play the wing as well, and he plays good defense too. And we saw that at McHale Center last year when he was playing for Eastern Washington. He looked good defensively in that game, and he was the pleasant surprise of my takeaway from the Red Blue game as far as the players.
I'm coming away more confident now that this is a 21-22 win season and a chance, an outside chance to make the tournament, depending on how well they do, where they are in the Pac-12 and then certainly the Pac-12 tournament. Alex Steiniger, our good friend from the Morning Blend, he just posted something here. If we have a chance to put that up, they've been doing our little poll questions for us. And now remember, it's the Morning Blend, and let's just say it may trend more towards a female viewership. I'm guessing. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing. But I don't think this is far off, Jason. Even if you just polled 100 Tucsonans, I think there is some genuine, huge excitement level when it comes to women's basketball in this town, thanks to Adia Barnes and what they did last year.
Women's basketball had its media day the other day, last week, and we're going to do a story at 6:00 on Shayna Pellington, who's going to be the point guard this year. Adia Barnes is going to use several players at point guard, but Shayna is going to start. She's going to bring the ball up the court. She can play good defense, and what you'll see in the story is, yeah, of course, she's no Ari McDonald. Nobody is, but the team is bigger, deeper, and stronger than it's been. And she kind of personifies that a little bit. I mean, she gets down that court. Watch out when she's dribbling down. So they're going to have to replace 20 points a game. If this team takes a step backward this year, I understand. Okay. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Adia has fantastic players coming for next year, the year after. She's got them lined up now. Everybody wants to come to play Arizona. And when these other teams have kind of broken through the way Arizona does, or has been, there has been like a year delay in recruits because some people were like, Arizona, what have they ever done? Well, now they've gone to the championship game, but a lot of those have already committed to Connecticut. I love Adia's pitch. Listen to this pitch that she's giving recruits. We're talking about Adia Barnes, the women's basketball head coach at Arizona. Do you want to go to UConn and help them win their 13th title, or do you want to come to Arizona and help us win our first one? It's almost like, do you want to be a cog in the wheel?
Right.
And you want to go be a cog in the wheel at GM? You want to come to Tesla and change the world? That's what I kind of got.
That's a great analogy, and it's true. In a way, you can get lost going to UConn, right? You might get a little lost going to a Stanford year in and year out. But at Arizona, you can, as we saw with Ari McDonald, you can make an immediate impact if you're let's say you're a 5-star player that's looking at all those schools. I think, you're right. You don't replace, and Adia knows this too. You don't replace 20-point guard with another point guard and expect them to score 20 points. But everybody will be a little bit better. They had some. They had players play on under 19 or world teams and Canadian teams and U.S. teams. I think a lot like what we saw with some of the men's basketball team playing that international basketball during the last few months. You're going to see the women's team, some of those players that were little sliver role players who are now going to become much more of a factor in their lineup. I think we're going to see a big jump for them as well.
They'll play great defense. A Salvo coach team will, the assistant coach, Adia's husband.
That's exactly right.
But my concern is when another team went on a run last year, Ari sensed it, and she said, look out. And when I'm taking it to the hoop and I'm scoring.
Right.
And she did. Almost like, you covered baseball. You were a Cardinals broadcaster. Almost like that ace pitcher that stops the losing
That's
streak.
right. You got to have a stopper. Yep.
She was a stopper.
Yeah.
She's any type of team. When she sensed that Arizona needed a bucket or to quell the momentum from the other team, she wasn't passing the ball on that possession, and she was going to score. That's tough to, and the way that she created her own shot too, it was fantastic. And to be that good, that's why she's all, led the WNBA in steals and assists as a rookie, So, they'll be a good team. If they take a step back, they take a step back.
Yeah, but a step back might just be, they make the tournament and they only go to the Sweet 16 or something like that,
right.
or a step back where I think, and we don't want to heap too much expectation on this team, but this team's now expected to be a perennial NCAA tournament team and a team that finishes in the top half of the Pac-12, and maybe every couple of years they make a deep tournament run. It's not unlike what we the expectations we used to have for Arizona men's basketball, and we hope to have again very soon.
All right, terrific. Any final thoughts?
No, I just I'm not going to make any predictions, Jason, and I'm not even going to say, okay, this is the week Arizona football gets a win. I have a sense that they're going to come out and play a more complete game.
Oh gosh, Pat, if they come out and do a stinker like San Diego State,
I will
come out here on this show next week and really rail on them. No
I agree.
stinker against like San
No,
Diego State.
no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually think they're going to play well, and I might be one. I don't know. I'm the only one, but I've never been a big Chip Kelly fan, and Chip Kelly at UCLA, I think has been mediocre at best, and that's being kind. And I think this is the kind of game in the past. Heck, we saw 2 years ago Arizona beat Chip Kelly and UCLA here at Arizona Stadium. So why couldn't it happen this week? I'm not predicting a win. I'm just saying I feel like they're going to be ready and they're going to play hard, and I expect this to be a competitive game.
Yeah, they beat him in 17 too, I believe, at Arizona Stadium when Fish was an assistant for UCLA, but lost to him a couple of years. Rich Rod had some trouble with him the first few years, and then on the news last night, we showed the 2011 wild and crazy
That was
game.
wild. That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget it's a whiteout this Saturday too. Arizona generally does well in a whiteout with the blue jerseys, so we'll see.
All right, same uniform combination as
Yep.
as
It's 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Pat. This has been the Huddle on KGUN 9's digital platforms and streaming channels, and however you may be watching. So we'll be right back here at the same time next Thursday at 3:00, and we'll talk Arizona football with their game against UCLA, and maybe we'll be talking about a potential winning streak. Or maybe we'll be talking about when is this team going to win. So until next time, for Pat, I'm Jason. Thanks for watching here on the Huddle.